lack of medicine, a cemetery in the middle of cities and constant shelling. Many residents of Mariupol faced such challenges during the siege of the city. Among them is the 69-year-old pensioner Viktor, who remained in his native Mariupol for the first 45 days of the war. Only after a Russian mine hit his house did he evacuate. The man told Nazar Burhan how Mariupol lived in the first months of the war.
Viktor from Mariupol still cannot believe that his hometown was destroyed. His life, like that of millions of Ukrainians, will never be the same as before February 24. Viktor remembers that the city was trying to live in the first days of the war. Shops were open, but there were huge queues. Later, mobile communication disappeared in Mariupol. Later, people were left without water and electricity. Bandit disorder began in the city. Marauders began looting stores. They took everything out of there. Everything you wanted. Not only shops were looted, but also pharmacies, which caused a shortage of medicines. People started getting sick. Exacerbated chronic ailments. Neighbors from the first floor, Viktor says, were suffering from diabetes. But it was impossible to find insulin in the city at that time. That man died. It was the first death in their apartment building during the siege of Mariupol. These 14 people died of diseases because there was nothing to treat them. Behind the house was a wasteland. We hid these people there. Every night, when going to bed, Viktor kissed his wife and said goodbye to her, hoping that a Russian projectile would not fly into their apartment. They ate, he says, with the supplies they had at home. They went to a nearby church for humanitarian aid, where they waited in line for hours. Water was taken from a spring near the house, where Azov citizens came to stock up. I asked him, "Guys, when will they stop shooting at us?" One fighter, a young guy, turned to me and answered, "As long as they support the Russian world in Mariupol, they will shoot at you." Despite the daily bombardment of the Rashists, the man says, there were still many supporters of the Russian peace. Despite the fact that, over the past 8 years, Mariupol has turned into a modern European city that is constantly developing. Every morning we went out into the yard after the shelling. Who is shooting at us? I answer, do you not understand? From the sea, ships, we saw rockets in night. From above, planes that drop bombs on us. From the side of Novozovsk, Grady, howitzers are firing. Viktor and his wife were in their native Mariupol for 45 days. The man is sure that if the city had not been surrounded, the defense forces would have been able to withstand the onslaught of the enemy. On April 10, after an enemy mine hit their house, the family decided to leave Mariupol. At 6 o'clock in the morning, taking the necessary things and the cat, Viktor and his wife went to the village of Portovsky. It took them 6 hours to get there, and from there they were driven to occupied Mangush. Then we got to Berdyansk, then to Odessa. They were received hospitably on the free territory. We ask, guys, where can we buy sausage? They say, nowhere. And where can I buy something to eat? Suddenly a guy came up with a stick of sausage and said, take it. We were surprised. Then another one came and gave his halva. In the end, Viktor and his wife came to Odessa, where relatives live, where the husband volunteers at a center for refugees like himself. Viktor believes that the blue-yellow flag will fly over Mariupol again. And it will be possible to return to a city that will not smell of Russian peace. Nazar Burhan, Vadim Mirza, Facts ICTV Single News.